Wasting too much time on product development and not enough time on sales and marketing is a recipe for disaster in your business. Welcome to the Money Time Freedom Show, guys. And listen, winning in your business is pretty freaking awesome. But today I want to share with you the complete opposite, the biggest mistakes in business. And in fact, these mistakes almost led to me almost losing my business. And I see a lot of new coaches making these same mistakes. And so I want to share them with you so that you can completely avoid them. So what's up, legends? Again, welcome to the Money Time Freedom Show. I'm your host, Eric Anthony Klima, and today's episode is about me sharing with you all the big mistakes that I've made in business during my come up. And the reason I want to share with you this is because you look into my business now after 6 years of running a couple coaching companies, EA Fitness and PT Legends, and it's like, man, this guy is crushing it. That's what someone said about me recently. What y'all probably don't realize is during that come up, like from zero to my first million per year, I made some big mistakes, went through several adversities, and these big mistakes almost cost my business. So when I get coaching clients that come in for their PT Legend coaching sessions, I'll inevitably find some of these big mistakes and challenges that they're making in their business, which is slowing down their growth, adding more stress and friction, and effectively taking away profits, right? Because it's getting pretty expensive when you're making these mistakes. And you keep throwing more money and time at trying to fix these mistakes, not realizing that the mistake might have another solution. So without further ado, let's get started. But before we do, I just want to share with, show a lot of gratitude for all of you who listen to this on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all over the place. Man, we just keep continuing to get more subscribers, more supporters, and that really helps put our message across platforms. And for that, I am massively grateful and thankful for you. So yeah, let's get started, guys. All right, so some of the biggest mistakes that I said I really wanted to share with you guys that really slowed down my growth in business, and in some cases will actually put a business completely out of business. Big mistake number one, often in the beginning of people building their business, is too much focus on the product, right? Not enough focus on marketing and sales. In the beginning, I was like, man, I want to build the biggest, best coaching program ever. I want to have the best fitness coaching business in the world. I want to, have the best transformations and the best product ever. And I want to decrease the effort and sacrifice that they have to go through and make it so easy for them to do it, right? And I want to get my clients the best results while making their life easier. Well, here's the thing. When you spend all this time focusing on improving the product, spending tons of time on Trainerize at first, and you don't even have clients, and you're constantly doing it over and over and over again, and you're trying to look for perfection, and you don't spend time on actually putting your stuff out there, on the content, on promoting yourself, on getting your marketing systems dialed in, on tightening up your sales process and making that efficient, and making sure you do your follow-ups and having an efficient follow-up and systems to do so, and focusing on your lead generation process, then what you have is a really great product, but you never took the time to actually drive traffic to market, to get leads, to convert those leads into high-paying clients. And honestly, guys, early on, I see a lot of new coaches doing this. They spend a lot of time in developing the perfect logo and developing the perfect product, rewriting it, reshooting their workouts, reshooting the content, reformatting the thing, trying to build a website that doesn't even have traffic to it. And if you're using an application like Trainerize, overall just trying to make it perfect, right? So whatever it is that you're trying to make perfect in terms of your product, logo, branding, blah, blah, it's like, dude, are you ever going to put this thing out there to try to get clients? Right? It's like one of my favorite sayings is I prefer messy success versus perfect mediocrity. You're never going to get it perfect. And what is going to create that perfect or near perfect product is actually selling, because you're going to get feedback from your clients. Because imagine this, if you spent the same amount of time and effort and energy on marketing this thing, that you're putting into creating the perfect product, if you took that same energy and put it on marketing and sales and dialing in your sales process and converting people into high-paying clients and customers, the customers will give you the feedback that you're looking for, and you know exactly what areas of that product that you can improve, right? And which ones are not so great and how you can actually perfect them from their feedback, from giving forums, from hearing them tell you your product sucks. So again, wasting too much time focusing on your product and not enough time on sales and marketing is a complete recipe for disaster, especially at the beginning of your business. Now, long-term, it's definitely something that you should get near perfect, but you got to sell first to get it near that perfect area, okay? So number 2 is not valuing your relationships or leaderships in your business. Because think about it like this. Technically, as the CEO, your definition is the leader of the company. However, leadership is more than just positional authority, right? There's also such thing as moral authority, and that means being a great visionary, right? Knowing how to lead the company, knowing what your company core values are, being an awesome communicator, being able to delegate to your team, being able to solve problems with your team, making sure that your team shares the same vision and understands that and wants to ride with you, right? They share that same vision that you have. Being able to have, conversations without hiding from, having those hard conversations, or hiding from those conversations from being like passive aggressive, or maybe even secretly not liking your employees or them not liking you, right? This is really, really important, because I promise you that it's not going to be a smooth sail the whole time of growing your business. You guys are going to have problems. Your ads might have really bad lead quality one week, and your sales team's like, what the hell? And you want to have that same vision and be able to solve that problem and lead them to success. Now, I used to be a leader who struggled with having clear communication and lacked a solid vision. This led me to numerous mistakes with my team a few years ago. It was a significantly a learning experience for me, because I realized it wasn't my team and I was working together against them, against their challenges. Instead, it felt like I was battling the world alone, like I didn't have a team. And then also battling my own employees, trying to get them to do the stuff they needed to do. Trying to get a business off the ground under these circumstances is extremely challenging when you're constantly fighting the battlefield with your clients, your success team, your sales team, or whatever team you have, and then also, battling the front of just having a business. Against these external challenges and internal team issues, you quickly just become overwhelmed. At least I did. So the problem was that my employees didn't feel like a cohesive, congruent team, right? We weren't all one. So they didn't share my vision because I hadn't effectively communicated it. I failed to clearly express my expectations and needs. So when my team couldn't meet the unspoken, unrealistic expectations in my head, I get frustrated, I'd act out, and naturally this led to dissatisfaction amongst our team members in non-alignment. We weren't aligned together. So it's no surprise that my employees that actually were good at what they were doing, they started to leave. One of my top members who, could have been a real leader in the company and really crushed it with us, at least today, quit because of my poor leadership. So as a leader, you have to understand that you can't do all the hiring and firing. Some of your best people will leave on their own when they see that you're not communicating well, or you're being aggressive, or you're lacking a clear direction for the company, or they don't share the same values or see the same long-term success that you do. They're going to start to feel stuck. They're going to start to feel undervalued. They're going to feel like they're spinning the wheels and facing constant frustration. So this isn't just bad for them, by the way. It's a disaster for you, because you end up losing great talent and being left with underperforming staff. And that's the last thing that you want to do when trying to build a successful team, and especially a successful business. Okay. So let's dive into mistake number 3. This is a big one, and I see a lot of coaches not doing this. And that's not setting KPIs or tracking them whatsoever. What KPI stands for is key performance indicators. So let's just imagine for a second that you work for me or something, or you're an agency, like someone's running ads for you or something along the lines of that. And your job is to manage my ads. And I'm like, dude, here's $10,000 a month. I want you to spend it. I'm like, just go ahead. And if I don't set clear KPIs, you won't know what success looks like. Sure, right? We might get leads from the money spending, from spending money on ads and more people seeing our stuff. But if each lead costs money and doesn't convert into a customer, we're in trouble. In other words, if I spend $10,000 and don't make anything from that, that's not going to be a good business. That's going to put our business in jeopardy. And I'll be honest with you guys, there's been times where we spent a lot of money on leads that ended up being worthless. Sometimes a lot of these, marketers and coaches, they'll brag about getting the cheapest leads, getting the cheapest cost and all this, sort of stuff. But if those leads don't convert, it's pointless, right? What matters is your ROAs, what you're actually making from those leads. And I'd rather spend a lot more for higher quality leads that actually convert into customers than to get a bunch of crappy leads and spend a bunch of money on it that don't turn into customers who are tire kickers. So it's crucial to establish KPIs for everyone on your team, from assistants to your customer support, from sales to your fulfillment team. For instance, at PT Legends, for our fulfillment team, we have, our sales team, we get up to 100 sales calls per week. Our fulfillment team is handling up to 200 clients per month. We spend a good amount on ads and manage, again, 200 clients at a time. So we need to know how many times, our clients choose to continue to work with us, what percentage of people are not continuing, right, is actually acceptable, and how many people are successful. Because without those benchmarks, people don't know what success looks like. And as a leader, you can't fairly judge their performance. Now, what's interesting here is this goes back to the first mistake that we made, right? Which is focusing too much on the product. So if you're focusing all this time on the product and you're not tracking your KPIs, you're not going to know if your product's good. But by tracking your KPIs, it's going to help you elevate your actual product, because if we need a certain amount of people to ascend, to keep working with us, and we're not hitting that KPI, then we know there's something wrong with the product, just to give you context on this. So not setting KPIs early, like really early in my business, cost me a lot more money because my team thought they were doing great, but I had no way to measure their effectiveness. I had no way of actually measuring that success. So setting KPIs is essential for ensuring everyone knows their goals, how to achieve them, and which bottlenecks to fix inside of your business or for that actual individual. Okay. Mistake number 4 is about hiring and retaining crappy employees. The core principles of leadership, both in business and personally, will greatly influence how you manage your team, your life, and your business. When I first started, many times I hired people who seemed like a good fit. They had a good, background, all this experience, but they turned out not to be. And it's not your fault if you hire someone who doesn't work out, but it is your problem and it is your responsibility if you keep them around out of sympathy or the fear of feeling like the bad guy, or, just that uncomfortable, hard conversation that you have to fire them. Sometimes you might even hire a great person, but then they go through, personal issues or crisis. Maybe they start to develop some bad habits. Maybe they start drinking, partying, whatever it is, or they face some serious issues that affect their work performance. And at some point, even the best employees can falter due to personal problems. Maybe a divorce or something, or some other life crisis. Despite your best efforts to support them, they may not recover. That's the reality of humans. But the question is, how long will you keep them around? Keeping someone who isn't no longer contributing positively to your business on you, right? Someone who's not meeting those KPIs like we mentioned in the mistake before this. In the book that Jocko Willink wrote, Extreme Ownership, he talks a lot about the concept of what's called mission over man. And this means that completing the mission is the top priority, even if a team member gets hurt, right? The injured person needs to take care of themselves until the mission is accomplished. This principle applies to your personal life and your business life as well. So you might have an employee who was once great at meeting their goals, and they just can't get back on track, and their performance suffers. They're not hitting their KPIs. They're not hitting their amount of book calls. They're not getting the clients to succeed enough, whatever it is. Keeping them around out of pity affects not only your business, but also the morals of the rest of your company and your employees. And they might start thinking that mediocrity is acceptable and lowering their own standards because they see what you're doing with that employee. I've seen coaches lose really good talent because their best employees lost respect for the leader when they kept in underperforming other team members. So they're like, oh, this guy's running a madhouse here. He's got this, dummy over here who's not doing anything. And, the other employees start looking at that and losing respect for you. These high performers either leave or reduce their efforts to match the lowered expectations. Or you might hire someone who seemed perfect on paper, and during the interview, they turn out to be incompetent. How long are you going to keep them, right? The longer you keep ineffective, trash employees, the more they're going to cost you in the long term, more than, not just in money, but in time, energy, and your reputation. So it's crucial to address these issues promptly to maintain a high standard for your team and your business. I look at my employees and my team as an extended representation of the company. They're representing me, but they're my team. We're going to battle together, okay? And we need everybody to be sharp. If you go to war with 5 Marines, I've never been a Marine, but if one guy, is not shooting his gun, he's not, contributing to the success of you guys winning that battle, what do you think is going to happen? The rest of it's going to crumble, all right? So moving on to number 5. This is a big one, is delaying the hire of an assistant. This is a huge mistake I notice amongst new entrepreneurs, new coaches, especially fitness coaches, because they don't want to let go of control, and they also feel like no one can do it as good as them. Now, this is not just going to cost you more money, but it's going to cost you, a lot more. It's not going to cost you time. You're not going to have a business that you love working in. And in fact, it's actually going to get your clients worse results because you're not able to efficiently give them the time that they need, especially if you're at that $30,000 to $50,000 per month mark. I see a lot of coaches making the mistake. And if you haven't hired an assistant at this point, you're likely spending your time on tasks that could be outsourced for $20-ish per hour. Now, if you think your time is worth that, then perhaps that's fine for you. But consider the amount of low value work you're handling that someone else could take over for $20 an hour. Not only does this free up your time to focus on higher level activities in your business worth $100 or $1,000 or $5,000 an hour, like creating content, making podcasts, maybe creating a new ebook, or, getting new partnerships, or hiring, or running ads. There's so much more valuable shit that you could be working on or doing. But instead, you're bogged down with minor tasks that an assistant could easily handle for you. By not hiring an assistant sooner, you're essentially stunting your business's growth. This, in many cases, stems from being, again, either afraid to let go and control, you feel like no one's as good as you, or you're being too frugal, or you're just not aware of the benefits. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've never come across a coach who regretted having an assistant too early on, right? On the other hand, Many, many, many regret not doing it sooner, including myself. I was one that made this massive mistake in my business. It was costing me it was costing me a lot of money because that time could have been spent on other things. It cost me a lot of time, frustration, and energy. And to wrap things up, guys, it all comes down to people and processes. Assuming you have a great product, the issue more than likely lie in ineffective processes or the wrong people executing them. And again, this can cause your business to stagnate, plateau. So avoid these common pitfalls and learn from the mistakes that I've made. And if you're interested in my coaching program for your online fitness business, go to go.eric-anthony.com or click the link below to learn more about our private coaching program where we can help you elevate your business. All right, legends. So thank you so much for watching this episode. Keep in mind, achieving success is in your freaking hands, and transformation can occur in a heartbeat if you actually decide to take action. So until next time, we'll see you soon.